Hey everybody, welcome to ArtForm Intelligence. My name is Joe Ennis, and I am the senior podcast and video producer here at ArtForm. Super excited to be joined by Megan and Hunter to talk about all things social media today. Guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, so why don't you guys just start by introducing yourselves and talk about what you do here.
Hi everyone, I'm Megan Goons. I'm a senior digital marketing strategist here at ArtForm Agency.
Hey guys, I'm Hunter Waring, and I am the senior operator at ArtForm.
Cool. Yeah, so today's topic that we're talking about is how to master social media algorithms. One of the key things that we think going from 2024 into 2025 is the importance of social media. Most companies at this point are trying to take advantage of it to some degree. Some are focusing on specific social media platforms. Some are trying to hit them all. They all have different strategies. We wanted to talk a little bit about them, but more so, they all have different algorithms. And we want to talk about some of the algorithms and how to beat or how to take advantage of an algorithm when it comes to social media. So, Megan, would you mind starting just talking to us a little bit about what a social media algorithm is?
Right. Yeah, so I know today we're going to be diving into the topics of algorithms, and it's so important because the algorithms help you boost your visibility and increase your engagement, and every single platform has a different algorithm, and it's all based on your user engagement and what you're interacting with. So all of those kind of play a part into all the different platforms, but they all have their specific things that they're measuring for.
Cool. Yeah. And, obviously, like we said, a lot of the platforms that people are focusing on, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram being the three big, X is another one. One of the ones that we focus on a lot at ArtForm is LinkedIn. That's one that we, really hit on, but we hit on all of them, I would say. Can you talk a little bit about, either of you guys, can you talk a little bit about kind of how algorithms impact your content and why, when making content, you need to think about the algorithm that you're posting to.
Right. So LinkedIn in particular, its algorithm is wanting to see more professional content, and it's a networking platform. So content needs to be a little bit more professional in that aspect, whereas Instagram and Facebook are a little bit more casual. So anything like gated content is a really big topic right now because it's a little bit more elevated in terms of you have to have people subscribing to that content. So think of like thought leadership, case studies, all kinds of stuff in your industry. All of that is super popular within LinkedIn. So LinkedIn will measure like what people are subscribing to, like what are people interacting with, what are the topics that people in terms of thought leadership that is really compelling, and what is getting people to comment, what is getting people to share. So all of that plays a factor into, the professional tone of LinkedIn. And so that's what LinkedIn favors in terms of algorithms.
Sure. Yeah.
I think it's also which platform is your audience on, because different audiences prefer different platforms, which are going to have your different algorithms. So if you're trying to reach them on one platform, you're going to want to change your strategy if you're trying to reach the same person on a different platform, just to make sure you're using the same algorithm and making sure everything's correct and you're doing everything correctly, because it doesn't matter how good your content is. If you're not following the rules of the algorithm, they're not going to see it.
Sure. What is there kind of like a stereotype, would you say, of which platforms have which types of audiences, like surface level kind of? Could you tell me
There
overall?
definitely is kind of a stereotype. You always hear about, I don't want to say it this way, but this is the fact. This is what people are talking about, that boomers are on LinkedIn and Facebook, and that, Gen Z, millennials, they're on Instagram, they're on TikTok, but that couldn't be further from the truth. People who are, college age are even on LinkedIn now, because it's a networking platform. So people have to use LinkedIn to be able to network with people at corporations, network with people within the industry they're trying to go into. So I think that, as these platforms continue to grow, because they're ever evolving, they're ever changing, they're always being enhanced, people are starting to get more into the social media game and really use it as a way to their advantage. So I think, there's definitely some misconceptions options. And I think it was more so when social media first came out, people were a little bit more segregated in terms of the different platforms. But now it just seems like everyone's on it all across the board, because everybody can benefit in some way from every single social media platform.
Sure. Kind of going back to how algorithms impact your content. Across all of the platforms, I mean, and this sounds like a given, you want to make sure that you're posting consistently to really take advantage of them. Why do you think consistent content is essential for, staying on top of people's feeds? And everyone hears that and is like, yeah, I wish I could post more. But why is it like more crucial than people realize sometimes? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it's crucial because it's commerce, right? Like, it's what's moving our economy. It's completely critical for people to be interacting with the brands that they love and to stimulate the economy. I mean, that's absolutely the reason why, all of these companies are advertising or trying to put out content, trying to post and get awareness about their brands and how they're benefiting the economy and the services that they provide. So it's super critical. And also just being able to interact. I mean, we're in such a digital age too, and that a lot of people are remote. A lot of people have kind of lost that element of being in person, and social media gives you a way to connect with people. Even if you have family that's abroad, family that's, in a different area, you connect with those people. And so I think it's important for brands to be on there as well, because, you want to follow where the people are and you want to provide meaning to your audience. I mean, that's how to sum it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, also with, as long as you've done all your research on where your audience is with all the AI tools, it's really easy to create GPTs to just consistently be spitting out content and engaging content as well. So you're not just shouting into the void. It's the algorithm keeps learning, and even A/B testing is getting better and quicker. Like it used to be you would post a couple things and every couple days go back and see which is getting more clicks. Well, with all the new AI tools, it's so fast that it's in real time, seeing what's popular and what's not and changing it instantly. So
yeah, and that's something that we do a lot for clients. So shout out artformagency.com. Go there now and get in touch with us. We can help you out.
And I do want to make a point. We talk about posting consistently. When it comes from a marketing perspective, it's critical to be on all of the platforms and to make sure that you're staying relevant where your audience and your users are engaging with content and where they're and being informed about your brand. But you have to have a strategy behind it. You can't just put out content just to put out content. You want to make sure that your content is meaningful and it's compelling and it resonates with your audience as well. You don't want to just be posting just to post, but you want to have a strategy behind it.
Sure. Yeah. And that's actually what I want to get into for the next couple minutes is that strategy. So we have a couple different strategies that we, implement. Sometimes we implement more than one. Most of the time we implement more than one. However, we do have a couple different things that we would recommend people think about. So why don't we just get into those? What would you say, the number one thing is that we recommend?
Yeah, understanding your audience is definitely number one that you need to focus on, because marketing or trying to create awareness to people who are 20-something is going to look so much different than someone who is 40-something, right? They're at very different aspects of their life, right? And they're engaging with different kinds of content. So I think it's really critical just to understand who you're trying to speak to and making sure that your message is reaching the correct audience. Because if it's not reaching the correct audience, you're not going to get the engagement, the awareness, the conversions that you're looking for.
Yeah. And that kind of goes into the second point that we have, which is focusing on that engagement. Engagement on posts is important, not just views of a post.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that something that people need to worry about?
Okay, yeah. So for like Facebook, for example, Facebook's algorithm measures how many people are commenting on your stuff. So in terms of, let's say a social media post is put out and all of my friends are commenting on it, right? And they're interacting with it. Well, that's going to show up on my algorithm because my friends are interacting with it and they're my age. So that's what Facebook does. It prioritizes things based on the engagement in your community and what people are interacting with. So it's super critical to make sure the messaging and the post that you're putting out there is relevant for your audience. So let's say Facebook, for example, like I said, it likes comments, it likes shares, it likes all of that engagement, reactions. So anything like giveaways, like fun prizes, tips and tricks, that tends to work really well for Facebook.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And then there's, keeping it rolling. Hashtags are another big one.
Yep.
Not necessarily for, engagement, which yes, but something that people don't think about a lot is that hashtags are literally like a filter.
Right.
Like it's just organizing your content. A lot of people like to make up hashtags and put hashtags because, they might be fun and think of them as tags. But not only are they tags, they're literally like filtering your content.
Right. You click on a hashtag and then it puts other content that has that same hashtag on your feed. Right. So yeah, definitely hashtags are super critical.
As long as the algorithm is there
Yeah.
for it. Because I see that a lot. A lot of people, try to use hashtags on algorithms that don't use it, and it'll actually hurt you.
Or using too much.
Yeah, so that it does. Just pay attention to the algorithm when you're posting before you make sure you understand where you're posting.
Yeah. Another thing, we heard recently, or I heard recently, was the idea of trying not to make up hashtags. Like sometimes it's good to make up a hashtag, if it's like your company, something like that. But like there are people that will like go to a conference and there's a conference hashtag that they tell people to use, but they'll try to make up their own anyways.
Right.
And I think it's also important to like, and we do studies and research on this, seeing what hashtags are actually performing well and which ones people are actually visiting, and using hashtags that are effective and not just making up anything that looks fun,
Right.
And not necessarily using the ones that are oversaturated. There's a cool balance, or a good balance there, I think, too.
Right.
So let's keep going. So for content, a big area, and I talk to clients about this all the time, is video.
Yeah.
Images and text posts are easy. Videos not.
Yeah.
Why should people... I want people to hear it from other than just me. Why should people think about doing video?
Oh, definitely. So, the biggest thing right now is Instagram versus TikTok, right? Which one should I go with? Clients are asking us that all the time. Which one works best for my audience? Is it going to be Instagram? Is it going to be TikTok? So the algorithms when it comes to Instagram and TikTok are very different. People think that it's the same, but it's very different. So Instagram, for example, it measures all of the content that you've interacted with in the past. So anything that you've saved, anything that you've liked in the past, and it's going to continue to provide recommendations and put reels on your feed that is relevant to things that you've liked in the past. Whereas TikTok, for example, it favors really short-term videos. People who are on TikTok want their information fast and quick, and so you need to be able to capture people's interest probably within the first 5 seconds. If you don't have people's interest with video in the first 5 seconds, then they're lost.
Yeah.
So the way that video with Instagram and TikTok are so different, but they're so critical because a lot of the newer generations, the younger generations are interacting, and those are the people that are moving the economy right now. So it's super critical for businesses to be able to adopt video because it's going to drive their sales, it's going to drive their business with all of these people who are entering the workforce, who are, getting jobs. So I think it's super critical for video.
Definitely.
Yeah, the other thing with videos, you can do so much with it. Like, people go, it's really hard to make, but once you get a video, you can, one, create shorts out of it, micro content. You can use the transcript to create a blog. It opens up so much more opportunity for posting.
Yeah.
And so it really is, if you can get into video, you should do it.
Yeah. Definitely.
Right.
Yeah, you're so right. And I want to speak to that for a second. Is the the amount of recyclability that video provides, even this podcast. I mean, we're going to turn this podcast into shorts, which people might be watching right now.
Right.
We're going to turn this podcast into a blog. We're going to turn this into a newsletter. We're going to turn it into a YouTube video, an audio podcast.
Right.
You know, the ways that you can recycle video content is endless.
Yeah.
And yes, it takes a little more extra work. But if you can do it, you're just going to stand out that much more. And the amount of people that are now doing video, you're kind of falling behind if you're not.
Exactly.
And that's another thing that people just need to understand. Okay, so then the last thing, and this is something that ArtForm as an agency in every area of our work and services does, is we analyze and we adapt to what's working and what's not. You know, whether it's advertising, SEO, video content, social media, we post. We look at how it's going, we analyze the data, and then we change based on what we need to do. Can you guys speak a little bit to kind of not only how we do that, but just why that's important?
Right. No, it's super critical to definitely test everything that you're doing and analyze, you know, how people are perceiving and interacting with the content that you're putting out there, because from there you can make strategic adjustments and maximize the spend that you have on, you know, all of these platforms. And it's super critical because you want to make sure that your analytics are, you know, really strong and your campaigns are really strong. And the messaging's resonating with your audience, especially with imagery that needs to be high quality content, your messaging that you're putting out there, because you want to make sure you're reaching the right audience and that they're taking the action that you want them to, whether it's, you know, driving somebody to your website, whether it's, you know, just getting them to subscribe to a newsletter, whatever it is. If it's just awareness, brand awareness, you want to make sure that you're actually getting the return on what you're putting out there on the platforms.
Definitely.
I think we said this earlier, but it really is. It's like it doesn't matter how good your content is if you're not optimizing for it afterwards. Like you should always be reviewing your content and optimizing it.
Yeah.
Especially with how much these algorithms change, because, you know, one day you'll be ranking really well and you'll be getting a ton of traffic and it'll be, you know, doing everything that you wanted in your strategy and it's working. And then the next day the algorithms change and now that strategy isn't working.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that content can't still work for you. You just have to go back and optimize it. So I mean, that would be my big advice is just, even with your old content, pay attention to it and keep optimizing it and keep adapting, because it's really important.
And I want to add to that, just, you know, it also is helpful for analyzing trends and peak engagement times too. Like, when is your audience available to be receiving this type of content? What are the best times to post your content? What is the best time of year to post the content? So just making sure, you know, if it's seasonal content you're putting out there, you know, you're putting the content out there at the right time to get the right type of engagement.
Yeah. I want to hit on what you just said about optimizing the content, not just putting out high quality content, because I think that's something that ArtForm does really well compared to the competition, to our competition, is we take full care of not only making sure that the quality of the content is going to be high, the podcast quality, the video quality, whatever it is, social media quality, but that people are going to see it. You know?
Yeah.
Right.
And that's such a big thing that people forget is they spend so much time on one area.
Well, if no one sees it, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Well,
Exactly.
and you also don't want every single person to see it,
Right. You want the right
person to see it.
100%.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like obviously I don't want to give away all the secret sauce,
Yeah.
but it's like you should really pay attention to Google's People Also Ask feature.
Yeah.
It's the best way to just quickly understand what is my audience asking about this topic. And the quicker you can answer those questions in your content, the better it'll rank.
100%. So let's wrap up here. Are there any examples that you guys can share? Any success stories that come to mind of maybe a client that we've worked with, you know, that we've been able to help in this area with social media?
Yeah, definitely. I can't really give away the name of the
Right.
client. But for example, we had a project that we recently worked on for a client who was trying to advertise the scholarship that they're promoting. So our team did a lot of research in terms of peak times to promote this scholarship to students. It was a really specialized niche audience, because I can't really give away what
Yeah.
the program was, but it was a really niche program that we were trying to target certain students for. So we had to adjust along the way, probably every week, I would say, while we were running the campaign, and just making sure that our ads weren't facing any type of fatigue, make sure that the content was really resonating with our audience, and we were getting the conversions that we were looking for and the client was looking for. And, we saw 90% optimizations across the board for all of our ads. And that's, almost unheard of for clients.
Yeah.
The example I was just giving before, where we're constantly, we'll do something for a client, like, help them writing blogs or some kind of social media campaign, anything like that. And the campaign will be over, and then months later, I'll go back to it and see that the traffic decreased from those things being out there, and we'll just go back in and optimize it real quick and make it relevant again. And all of a sudden, you have a new traffic source to your website again.
Sure, yeah.
So it's like, there's a ton of those. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, we do that all the time.
Our team definitely goes the extra mile, though, in predicting those types of issues that might come up along the way. So we really take a proactive approach in making sure, okay, if we are running into a situation, or might run into a situation where some of the content that we're putting out there is running into fatigue, okay, we have like backup stuff. We have things already in the hopper that we can, easily switch out, test other things out, and switch things and see how that would perform. So our team does a really good job of that.
Yeah. Yeah. So to recap, post consistently and post engaging content, post video, please. And test some of these examples or strategies that you've heard and let us know your results.
Pay attention to the algorithm.
Pay attention to the
Yes.
algorithm.
It's super important to learn the algorithm.
That's right. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me today to talk a little bit about social media. If anybody listening has any questions, feel free to go to artformagency.com, or you can check the description below and click the links. We would love to talk to you more. I know Megan or Hunter would love to talk to you as well about how we can help you in your social media strategy. Thanks again, guys, for joining me today.
Thank you for having us.
Cool. See ya.